The Louisiana Taxpayer Education Fund is an important group that's come together to support the work of grass tops organizations that are working against Constitutional Amendment 5, which is on the ballot on Tuesday in Louisiana. And we're really excited about the energy that we've been seeing out on the streets to oppose Amendment 5 and make sure that families around Louisiana are not going to get charged more for the same services.
What does Amendment 5 say?
Amendment 5 creates a new tax loophole, which amounts to over $2.5 billion in giveaways for companies that could be negotiated away. They're currently taxes that are paid by these companies in order to support our parks, our libraries, our schools, our hospitals, our roads and bridges, which, as we all know, need some work. And so even though our state already gives away a massive amount of property taxes for these big companies, this would create a new giveaway that essentially lets those companies just negotiate in a back room with politicians and then have a faux approval process in public that will allow them to get out of all of that. And then that's going to put it back on Louisiana families to fund those things.
Louisiana already has huge corporate tax breaks for large manufacturers. We have the largest program in the country by, per capita. Not only the largest, but ours is twice as large as the second place state in the nation. And we have very few restrictions on these exemptions.
We are just really proud to be able to have the resources to support the work of organizations like Together Louisiana, who's been working on this issue for a number of years. They actually stopped the passage of this legislation twice before, but during COVID, while there were fewer people at the Capitol, a bill that allowed for this ballot initiative to occur passed without much public input and without a lot of people noticing. So a paid effort has really been necessary to educate voters and make sure they know that Constitutional Amendment 5 is going to be incredibly bad for our state.
Well, the logic for these exemptions is that companies get a tax break to get started, and then they start paying taxes like everyone else. Some of the companies who are getting the largest of these exemptions are approaching the ends of their exemptions, and they've tried to make local deals. Those local deals were unconstitutional. They're trying now to make this an amendment to the Constitution, so that they can make deals that Amendment 5 would authorize.
No one would be helped by it if it passed, and pretty much everyone would lose. Really including the companies that would get the giveaway, because while it may create more profits for them in the short term or the long term, our communities are the ones that are going to suffer. So we're not going to have those draws that get more jobs to come to Louisiana. So the regular Louisiana family is going to suffer big time. The 3% of this money that goes to our schools, the 6% that goes to our hospitals, the amounts that go to our roads and bridges in different parishes, that's what we're going to miss out on over 10 years. And meanwhile, the politicians that negotiate those deals for these companies will be out of office and gone, and we won't have anyone to answer for the decisions that have been made without a vote of the local people. So we're just getting completely taken out of this process.
Amendment 5 would do 5 bad things. It would allow these companies to negotiate how much they would pay in property taxes, or even whether they would pay them at all. Amendment 5 would also require no job creation or even retaining jobs. The rest of us would pay higher taxes, the taxes that they're not paying. There would be no time limit on these exemptions. And because there's only so much we can pay, eventually this will defund schools, roads and bridges, and other public services that we need. This might in some ways be good for these companies, but it's bad for everyone else, including the 99% of businesses who don't get these exemptions.
This is a big election. There's going to be a big turnout. There's going to be long lines. There's a really important set of amendments on the ballot, not just Amendment 5. There's a bunch of them. Please take the time to educate yourself about these things. Vote your whole ballot. Don't stop after you get through those federal races. The things farther down the ballot impact you in an even bigger way than those things at the top of the ballot. And you need to make sure you know how you're going to vote on those constitutional amendments that are on the ballot. And we hope that for number 5, it's going to be a big no.
Together Louisiana is trying to get the word out, not only about this, but about the importance of voting. We're starting a new program, a precinct organizing project that tries to encourage through block captains, people in their neighborhoods to get out and vote. We think that if enough people educate themselves about this amendment and other amendments, they will vote responsibly and increase voting in Louisiana.
How can people get more information?
Well, a straight up Google search on Amendment 5 is going to point you straight towards Vote No on amendment5.com. There you're going to find a lot of financial information, a brief video about this amendment, where it came from, and why we need to make sure that it fails on Tuesday.